Hey 8th graders, today we're starting a new unit over atoms and molecules. That'll be a kind of short little unit, but it leads us into our big final unit on chemistry and chemical reactions. So to kick that off today, we're going to be doing a chemistry escape room. Okay, slide 2. The premise of this whole escape room is that you guys are going to be using 7 different clues, all related to atoms and molecules, periodic table, elements, stuff like that. To help you guys figure out the password to get you out of this escape room and help you finish this assignment. Okay, moving on to slide 3. Slide 3, I have an important tool for you guys to use. This is going to be your online periodic table, and you're going to be using a lot of it in the next quarter or the last couple weeks of school. Okay, so you guys will need to right click and open that up, and you'll want that open in the background the whole time you guys work. Okay, so I just kind of want to explain how to work this. Obviously, you guys can hover your mouse over any of these elements. You can click on them, and then you guys can see a zoomed in image over here on the left-hand side that tells you a little bit more about this element. You guys really can get into a lot of higher level chemistry looking at this stuff down here. But the main things that we're going to look at are fairly simple. So let's get into those. I want to give you guys a little bit of background information before you get started because it will help you crack a lot of these clues. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is called the atomic number. So this little black number up in the upper left-hand corner above the O, or depending on which element you guys are looking at above these little letters, is going to be what we call the atomic number. So this is oxygen. It has an atomic number of 8. So if we are looking at one atom of oxygen, the 8 tells us how many protons, how many neutrons, and how many electrons are in an atom of an element. So again, if we were to look at oxygen and we were to just take one atom of oxygen, we know that it has 8 protons and 8 neutrons all tucked into the nucleus, which is like the core or the center of the atom. And then there's also 8 electrons in little electron clouds surrounding the nucleus. So they're kind of found on the outside. They're kind of like the shell of the atom. Okay, so again, 8 protons and neutrons in a nucleus, which is the core, and 8 electrons in the little surrounding electron clouds of that core. Okay, so that's the atomic number. You guys will also notice on your periodic table that all of the elements are arranged by their atomic number. There's a little gap down here where you guys can kind of see, all right, we jumped in, we have this new section that we kind of inserted in this part. But for the most part, they're all in numerical order based on atomic number, which again also tells us the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons. All right, slide 5. This is the atomic symbol of the element. It's an abbreviation of their Latin names. So you guys might notice on the periodic table that not all of the elements, like for instance oxygen, oxygen starts with O, so that means the symbol must be O, right? Okay, well first of all, there's more than 26 different elements in this periodic table. There's well over 100 at this point. And you guys will notice that not all of them share the same like first letters as the name of the element. So let's take, let's see here, tungsten is one of my favorite examples right here. So tungsten is the name of the element, but it has a symbol of W. There's not even a W in the word tungsten, so where does that W come from? If you guys look on this slide, it all has to do with their Latin names. So the Latin name for tungsten is actually wolfram. And long before we had a lot of English ties to this, science was based a lot on Latin. And so the symbol W comes from the word wolfram, which is what we originally called that element, okay? And if you guys meet anybody who's from Europe or any of those areas, they'll still actually call tungsten wolfram. They don't actually call it tungsten, so it's kind of our own little Americanized version of the periodic table here. So like I said, things like gold have different letters for their symbol than anything you guys see in their name. Mercury, silver, there's quite a few of them. Okay, so look around and find some of those. All right, moving on. This is the name of the element. That's pretty self-explanatory. So this is oxygen. And finally, something that you won't find on the periodic table, but you guys will find hints to or helpers to, is the mass number. So the mass number is not included on the periodic table. The mass number is the total number of protons and neutrons. What we do find on the periodic table, though, is the atomic number. And remember that the atomic number tells us how many protons we have and how many neutrons we have. So for instance, oxygen has an atomic number of 8, meaning it has 8 protons and 8 neutrons. So if we add the protons plus the neutrons, 8 plus 8, we would have a mass number of 16. Okay, so again, mass number is the number of protons plus neutrons. We don't find it on the periodic table itself, but we can find the number of protons out of the atomic number and the number of neutrons from the atomic number and add those together to find the mass number. Okay, with that being said, let's move on, and I'm going to briefly talk about some of these clues because I don't want to give the answer away to you guys. Okay, clue number 1. This will help you guys figure out this very last word. Okay, clue number 1. Protons and neutrons are found in the blank of an atom. You guys have this little highlighted letter. You guys will need to use your draw tool to write each letter in that blank. And then again, the blank that's highlighted, okay, will be the letter you guys are looking for. Neutrons have a blank charge. Again, use your draw tool to write the answers in each of these. Okay, and then the one that's highlighted is going to be the one that you guys need to solve the word in that password. Okay, so go through, figure out all of those highlighted letters. You guys can use the internet for that. You guys have all of this, some of this information that I just gave you guys in that introduction, or like I said, you guys can Google it. Blank have a positive charge. Electrons have a blank charge. Blank are the smallest unit of all matter. The electrons found in the outermost level of an atom are called blank electrons. Okay, 7 and 8, there are 3 types of blank particles in an atom: protons, neutrons, and electrons. And then finally, electrons are very blank in size compared to protons and neutrons. So you guys will need to figure out the answers to those, and then you guys will write them in there, and then you guys from each of your 8 little questions here will grab the highlighted letter, and finally you will need to unscramble those highlighted letters to find the correct answer to clue number 1 here. If you guys need any help, please let me know and I can help you out. Alright, moving on to clue 2. Okay, for this one, you guys will need to use your periodic table. Okay, I will not give you guys much hint from there. You guys need to figure out that answer. Clue number 2 will help you guys solve this single lettered word right there, or number, or whatever the case. You guys need to figure it out. Okay. Clue number 3, you guys are given 3 numbers. You will need your periodic table, and that was all the hint I will give you. Clue number 4, you guys will also need your periodic table. Clue number 5 is actually not chemically related at all. It's kind of a little logic problem for you guys. You guys are given 4 symbols. Each of these symbols represents a letter. You guys can see your little key over here. So you guys need to figure out what letter each of these symbols represents, and then you guys will need to unscramble them to figure out which word I'm referring to in clue 5, which is right here. Okay? All right, clue 6, we're kind of winding down, only 2 clues left. Clue 6, you guys have some little kind of trivia questions for you guys to figure out. It might be kind of a periodic table pun, but you guys should use your periodic table for the most of these. You guys might also use your internet resources. Okay, so Marvel comic book character, it's referring to a specific element, so look through that periodic table and figure out which element I might be talking about. And then what is its atomic symbol? Orange liquid used to disinfect the skin before surgery. Maybe you guys have some personal experience with that, or you guys can Google that. Tell me the atom and the atomic symbol. Most abundant element in air. Google that. Tell me the element and the symbol. And then Kalium. I'm going to let you guys kind of use some logic to figure that one out. Okay, and then finally, clue number 7. You guys have this little cipher, this little number cipher, so you can see each letter of the alphabet has a series of numbers that represent that letter. So for instance, if you guys figure out the number 1, 27, 53, or 79, we're going to be referring to the letter A. Okay, here are your clues. What is the atomic number of molybdenum? You guys will need your periodic table, and you guys might also have to review those first couple slides that I just went over. So tell me the atomic number, and then give me the letter that I'm referring to. Okay, how many protons does argon have? Tell me the number of protons, and then use this cipher to figure out the letter. Okay, what is the atomic number of the element with the symbol P? Tell me the atomic number from your periodic table, and then use the cipher to tell me the letter. And then finally, how many neutrons does calcium have? How many electrons does neptunium have? And what is the mass number of nitrogen? Again, you guys can find all this information based off your periodic table and using the information I provided you guys at the beginning of this lesson. Okay, if you guys have any questions or get hung up, please let me know. Once you guys are done, make sure everything's filled out on all these slides. I'm going to be checking the whole thing, not just your password, but I will let you guys know in the comments when I return this assignment to you whether your guys' password was correct or not. Okay, I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.